Hey everyone, welcome to Weekend Project. I'm Laura Lynn of the Mama Pop Quilt Shop, and we're very happy to see you here today. Today we're working on block 4 of our Halloween 2019, obviously Halloween quilt. So these are called bats, and they're a different unique way to put the bat together. And of course you can do this as a block. That is what actually the link that we have shared. It's a free pattern. Is you can do it as a block, but I'm doing it as a strip because I want it as a border piece to border out our middle section. So you need 13 of the pieces to be able to put them together. So click on the link, it'll get you to the page, and there's all sorts of detailed instructions of how to put it together if you're misunderstanding what I'm putting together here, okay? And it says you do 9, but we're doing 13 because we need a strip of 26. That's why the 13, between the difference between the 9 and the 13, okay? So I put it up to my board here. I got a little bit more, but I'm allowing for trimmage, okay? So this was our first block, the coffin. Very nice, very fun to put together, and very easy on the paper piecing to learn how to paper piece. The second block, though, it needed some alteration because I put the whole block together and really needed a couple of bits taken off. So here's the whole block. If you want it to be able to go into the quilt, you need to remove the 2 strips on the side and the one on the bottom, which will give you the 12.5 by 16.5 that you need. And of course, this pumpkin actually goes on the side in the quilt, which I really love. And then we have our spooky cats. That's what was last week, and we're very happy to put those together. This kind of reminds me of Mr. Clive and, you know, some mysterious cat. So you got to have some fun. I love all the ones that have been posted. Totally love all the spooky cats. So thank you so much for participating. Okay, so this is our first strip, and we're going to make our second strip. So I just took a variety of fabrics, not even literally having to do with Halloween. I got some black textured, got some red with a swirl on it, some plain gray. The strips that I actually had to rip off my pumpkin, I put over in here, so in the second part, and then just some purple with flower, which you've seen before. And I've got some orange in this one, just a little bit different, but trying to keep it somewhat of the same. Just the same colors, or similar colors anyways. So to do each side, as you see, I have it built out on an angle. Okay, it tells you to start with your first piece, mark 1 inch in, and then line your fabric up and then sew. So I have a couple to do on the left side and a few more to do on the right side, and I'm going to show you how I'm doing both ones. So you are going to need a long ruler for this. So you may have to section yours up if you have a short one like mine. You may have to do a mark and then a mark and a mark before you're confident with that cut, and go from there, okay? So here is my strip so far. So, and then you get 2.5 by 7.5 inches, okay? Those are the strip pieces that you're going to need. So this is the one that needs to go next in line. I've marked over this little tiny chalk mark here where this fabric needs to line up, and then we're just gonna sew. And then I put a chalk mark here, 1 inch over for the next piece, and so on and so forth, okay? So that's what we're gonna do. Super easy. So I figured if I just showed a little bit on both sides, you would see where I was coming from and be able to be very confident in putting this really unique bat section together. And you can use all sorts of your fabrics. So they don't have to be strictly Halloween-y, just as long as it's some sort of color in your quilt. Like you could use greens and oranges and so on and so forth. Okay, so here, I'll bring actually this up to the table so you can see it on the little camera. Up here, and I have my little tiny chalk mark right there. So I take this next fabric and I line it right up on that line, and then I'm going to sew down this part, okay? Which really, if it's 7.5, you know you're only sewing 6 inches. But that's not really the point. It's making sure you have it on that 1 inch over, because you need to cut it on a 60-degree angle to get those bats, okay? And it really is important. Okay, here's the last one for this one. Here, and we'll give it a press. We'll give it a press after both of them are finished. Okay, here's the next one, like just white with black triangles on it. Just some I just went to my 2.5 inch strips and thought, okay, well, what can I use for Halloween-y colors, and what can I incorporate as a little pop of color? So hence the little bit of red and a little bit of purple. Okay, there we go. And that goes on the angle the way it's supposed to be. Okay, We'll give that a press in a moment. And then the same with the other one, but you're working the opposite side. You have to make it so it's doing this like bird sort of shape. So again, over here, marked 1 inch over to be able to line up the purple. And then I'll sew down, and then again, I marked a little inch on the white, on the purple, and then be able to sew down. So you just want to make it so the front one is in the lead all the way, and you're just doing it like steps, okay? Just stepping on down the ladder sort of thing, or down the stairs. It's such a unique idea. I love it. Absolutely love it. I thought, well, I could totally do a whole back quilt in this, or we could make up our own quilt project. And I think Pop was all up for making up our own quilt project. So make sure you're keeping them in the same sequence. Like if you had black at the top and red is next and then pumpkins, make sure it's black, red, pumpkins all the way down, because you're going to have to match those up to form your bat, okay? So you got to make sure it's got the wings and then the face part here and then the wings, and that's how it's going to all come together, okay? I know, it's so cute. So cute. All right, now lining this one up. Make sure it's on the right line. Okay. And then it'll be the next piece, which is, got the pumpkin, so we need the candy. Need the candy. Oops, I don't remember marking this one. Oh, I'll take my little marking pen back out. Okay, so over on my little board here, laying the flat bit of the fabric on one side of 1 inch, and then marking just a little bit where the line comes in on the next. So I know I have about 1 inch there. It was what they're asking for, is that little bit of layover. All right, and then we need the gray, and then the last is the little white and black triangles. Okay, so there's that mark. Laying out the gray on that little mark right there. Made a tiny little mark right by that green dot. Line it up. You can put a pin in if if things are shifting on you, or you're nervous about it coming together and don't want it to move too much, and go ahead. Move that over, mark 1 inch, and the last one. Okay, and then we'll give it a press, and then here comes the fun, scary part of cutting. Okay. All right, okay. Let's move this over here. We'll take this and we'll go and press them both, because they both need to be pressed. Here, I'll put that right there so you can see that. They're little blocks. We're getting quite the collection so far. I'm very excited by this. Very, very excited. Okay, just give that a little press. Keep everybody in line. Okay. And then this one here. All right. Okay. Here we go. And just making sure that we have our fabrics that line up the way that they're supposed to, okay? That is most important, okay? So the next key thing is finding the 60 degree on your ruler, okay? So whether you have a big one or a small one, you got 60 that crosses here, and then you got 45. Well, we want the 60. And what you want to do is be able to put that line of the 60 either on a sew seam or on a flat line of your bottom of your project, okay? Now, you can tweak your fabric. You can't tweak your ruler. So you want to be able to come up, now I'm going to use the big one here, and be able to follow this line, okay? Now make sure it's still lined up by putting this on the 60, lining it up here. And you're just going to take a smidgy, you're just pretty much taking off these corners right here, and you need to cut a 1.5 and a 2.5 out of this one side, and then a 1.5 and a 2.5 out of this side, okay? Let me just move my little iron table there. So when I go to make my first cut, where I'm going to do my measurements from, I'm pretty confident that it's in the 60, and I'm going to get my a cut all the way across. I'm not going to miss any bits. Long reach, okay? And then I take my ruler and I move it so it is 1.5, right? Now I could either mark this at this point in time, or I can go along the other side of the table, but I'm going to slowly just do it this way. I'm going to hold it steady. My hand is behind the blade at all time. Oh, move it back. There we go. And then straight up. Okay, so that's our 1.5. We need that one, so we're just going to put that right over here just so we don't lose it. And now we need a 2.5. Okay, we're going to do the same thing, but do 2.5. Okay, line it up. Put that on the straight long edge. And again, very slowly and safely cut that 2.5. Okay, and that is part, oops, clearly didn't cut all the way through there. Okay, really? Seriously? All right, that's your scrappy bits. You can save that for something else, okay? So now you got the 1.5 and the 2.5 out of that strip. You have to do the same for this one, but you know, you're doing your 60 in the opposite direction, okay? So it goes all ways, right? So line it up. Make sure you got some straight lines on your board. Be happy with your positioning. Of course, I got the little guy here. To help guide the big guy on the 60. This one doesn't actually, oh, it actually does have a 60. I didn't realize that until right now. Dark moment. Okay, remember, you can tweak your fabric to get your 60. You can't tweak your ruler. So make sure you're getting what you need out of your cut. Okay, just make sure, nip it off just the little bits, pretty much. Oh, no. Come on, you. Line up. Okay. Now here. All right. Now we need a 1.5. This will be much easier to cut. Okay, right here. Okay, and then a 2.5. Put the one over there. And the 2. Right, yes. Okay, now that's extra bits. Okay. Now here comes the fun part. Now you're going to pretty much make your bat. Okay. Let's get our pieces out here. Now we got our 2 outside edges. Okay. We're just going to point up to the center because those are going to form our down parts to our wings. Okay. And then we need our up part over there and our other part over there. Okay. And you can see how already those bats are starting to take shape. So what you want to put together first is the center. Okay. So scoot these off to the side. Don't let them confuse you because you do have to shift them down. And we're going to line up these guys right here by pinning and then sewing, okay? So just flip, pin, flip those seams, and sew. And I'm going to pin for everyone because this needs to be pretty accurate. I'd do the pinning. But, you know, you be you. You do you. You be that rebel if you want to be that rebel. Do you want to be that rebel? Do you really want to be that rebel? I kid you. I'm really liking this one with the black and the orange together and the, you know, the candy corn in there. recycling my boo-boo. Well, I built the block out, the pumpkin block, to be as if you wanted to build out the block itself. It just we know it needed to be altered to be able to fit into the quilt pattern, because it says right on the quilt pattern. So, and we all know how to read. All right, I'll put that together. Alrighty. Oh, so excited. So excited to build this bat set. It's a bat farm. Actually, it says a bat barn, or barn bats, or something like that, I believe is the name, the official name of the block. But we're making it our way. And I'm sure she'd appreciate the effort. So I think it's Elizabeth Hartman, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, just take your pins out as you go. Drop in on the bar. And of course you have to do 13, remember, 13 to get to your length. You're going to trim off the top and the bottom to make a flat. So maybe if that's not your favorite, fanciest colors in the whole wide world, then maybe put those at the top and the bottom so you can cut them off. Okay, let's move this over here. And that is our middle done, okay? And we're going to need to press that, because lining up our bat wings is very important to it being pressed. Okay, there we go. So that's our little section, and that's the start of our bats. Okay, super cool. All right, let's give it that little press. Okay, I'll just open it. And now's the time, if you didn't line up some of those points, maybe now might be a time to tweak it. Do a little seam ripping near that seam and try and get it to fit just a little bit better. It is kind of important to be able to make that bat formation, okay? So now the next part is, you take your little ruler, okay? And this line here, from this one, needs to be lined up on the angle of this one over here. So it forms that bat shape, see? So this is pretty much in line with that, and that is pretty much in line with this one here. We're trying to get as similar to that as possible, so it helps give it that bat shape. All right, so there's that. Seems pretty good there. You can give a little pin on it, shift it down, make sure we're getting close to thereof. All right, do a little flip and do some pinning, okay? And hopefully it all looks good. Just flip it back over real quick, make sure. Okay, and then you're just going to sew all the way down, hopefully in the same position with each piece as you're going to be able to form each of those bats. Okay, so it's just a little bit past, it's more like 3/4 of an inch-ish, looks like to me, you know. Okay, I think we're all right. Give this a little flip. I think we're pretty good. Here's open. Okay. Now let's sew that down side, and then we'll do the same as we line up the other side to be able to form out the wings. Okay. Those leathery rings. Sometimes they have holes in them too. I was like, how do you stay flying if you got holes in your wings? I hope you find this block easy enough to partake with and join in on this Halloween quilt, whether you do it this year or 10 years from now. It's a fun project. All the patterns are free, and we found a whole lot of them and made one of our own, or a few of our own. And we're very creative in the use of the blocks to build out this beautiful quilt project. Okay, so that's one side. Okay, let's bring it down take a little look. There we go. That's looking pretty good. Looks like bat wings to me. Okay, now we need to try and make sure the other side is a very similar position. Okay, so again, we're gonna line up our little ruler, try and go on a line of the top of the bat on one side. Okay. So just not working for me today. It's been a rough week. I'm sure everybody gets those. Okay, down a little bit. There we go. I think that's pretty good. Do a little flip. Pin it. And so all the way down, and then we will have our other bat border section. It's a big chunk, okay? And of course you can always flip it, make sure it's gonna look like the other one. Do a little faux sew, as they say, or as I say, and it looks pretty batty to me. Get it, batty? It's a bat on. Take me or leave me, I tell you. Take me or leave me. Okay, there. Pin them all up. I really love that candy corn fabric. Yeah, as I'm picking the pumpkin, I'm like, well, this is 2.5, and it can go right over here, so recycle. So hopefully you won't be mad that we did the block in like 2 different sections. One is obviously to build the whole block set itself, the pumpkin, and the other one was actually you have to alter it for the quilt pattern. So hopefully if the pieces that you have to cut off, if you've already done it whatever the quilt project is, I think it's actually 16 by 18 or something like that, or 16.5 by 16.5, then you could recycle them into this bat project, okay? So all good in the hood, don't be mad. All right, now we're just gonna sew up this other side here. Okay. I was going to add some bright green, but I think I might save the bright green for the witch's boots and stuff like that. I think that's where I'd really like to use those bright greens and some of those wackadoodle colors. Wackadoodle, you know what I mean. Don't ya? I know you do. Alrighty, okay, we'll give this a press. And that's our second bat set. There we go. See, even that black has a little bit of texture to it, right? So it gives a little bit of depth to it. And even that red, it's very plain. I think I put it into Quilt of Valor or backing or something of a Quilt of Valor like probably 4 years ago at least. Probably, well, 3.5 at least. But yeah, look at the candy corn one. Isn't that adorable? Oops. Stop pressing the buttons, Orlin. All right, give it a press. Let's give it a press. I'm loving this one. It's my favorite bat section so far. I could totally see making a whole bat quilt. I really could. Or these borders maybe around. This could be a bat border around a Halloween panel. This would be a good idea. Section it out on all sides and across the top and the bottom. I think that would be lovely. All right, so from here you go and you get to trim. You know, as long as it comes to 26. I think I left this one at 27 just to be on the safe side. I'd rather have to trim off a little extra off the bottom and the top. Then try to magically add something if our calculations were not bang on correct. Okay, so let's give it a little trim here. Okay, what is that? 20, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Oops, now I've moved it. Oh, of course. Whatever. Okay. Well, I don't want to cut off the most of the black bat, so I'm going to come in. I'm just going to trim it a little bit, and like I said, we can always nip off a little bit on the bottom, nip off a little at the top, and be able to make it all fit. Okay, so there we go. That is the bat border. Isn't that fun? I really like it. It's super cool. I really like those colors together right here. Just kind of really pops for some reason. And I used a little bit of what I had left over from Mr. Taradra's project with the panels and put a little gray and stripy bat. And I put the stripes the opposite ways, hoping that would add a little bit of dimension to it. So that is block number 4 of our Halloween project for 2019, and I hope you're sewing along. Don't forget to like and subscribe and check us out on Patreon. We do lovely, fun projects there, special videos, and they always get the videos that you normally see, they always get them early. So hope you guys check us out there. We greatly appreciate it. Have a fantastic day. We will see you tomorrow, Saturday, 1 p.m., where we're starting a brand new project on our weekend projects, our live streams that we start at 1 p.m. Eastern, okay, on Saturdays. Take care, everybody. Boo. Get batty.